our first thing, right? Where might be your first biggest concern of choice lie within, specifically to break it down in a workout sense, right? Food-wise. We're going to look at how you can be fueled for your workouts, right? Obviously, recovery is a certain thing. We're going to get into that later. But what is the primary and dominant source of fuel, which gets a bad rap all the time for weight gain? It's carbohydrates, right? And we're going to kind of combine some of those 4 points right now because it has to be combined. They're all encompassing in this conversation. So when you're entering a workout, right, your body is going to be working on primarily carbohydrates. It's going to pull sugar, right, glycogen stored in the muscle belly out of the muscle into the bloodstream to be used as energy, right? And that's how the muscle produces force. That's how it works. There's a lot of other things that come into play, obviously, but at a base standpoint, if you cut carbs or are low in carbs or don't have something prior to your workout, probably within an hour and a half of your workout, not too close because you don't want to fill yourself too much, right? That can inhibit your workout too. But giving yourself the ability to have the energy source in order to carry out the tasks that you need to do, hit the amount of reps, hit the amount of weight, get your heart rate and keep it at a certain level, last for an hour-long workout, right? If that's what you're doing, 45 minutes. Bottom line, fuel properly, right?
Yeah. Most workouts are going to be an hour. Mm-hmm. The most readily available source of energy is going to be that stored glycogen.
Yep.
So how do we have carbs? How do we have that sugar source in our muscles, in our blood for us to utilize during workouts? I think that's the most important thing, where when we have our 6 a.m. morning early classes here, we see a lot of people that are drained, and they're drained because they didn't have breakfast.
Yep.
And their bodies aren't adapted to working out without any fuel source.
Yeah.
So it's how do I maybe have to wake up 30 minutes earlier if I'm getting that 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. workout in order to get in a piece of fruit or some sugar-based drink at least before that workout. Or I'm going to see my strength training suffer a little bit. Right? I'm not going to have the energy to get through that workout.
Yeah, and I even have this conversation with certain clients. So I don't typically work out early. I have worked out fasted before. A lot of people like to come in and work out without any food in their system. Your body can be more adapted to that. It can work,
and that's a
right?
good point.
But the conversation I have sometimes, if they feel lightheaded or nauseous, or they're not pushing the same reps, or their strength doesn't feel the same, right? When you grip that dumbbell and it feels 25 pounds heavier that day, they might not be eating, and typically happens, they're not eating enough the night before even, right? Because people have this mindset of like the evils of eating late. Well, it's like, no, if you're not going to eat in the morning, you should be having some type of substantial basis of carbohydrate with your meal at night, because that's at least going to play some type of role in stored muscle glycogen when you wake up in the morning if you're going to work out fasted. So that's even something there, right? That's kind of like a trick of the trade. If you're going to work out fasted and you have to get to the gym at 5:30 or 6 a.m. and you don't really have the capacity or the time to wake up and eat early, how are you going to allow yourself to do that? Right? So that's it. I'm going to dive a little bit into supplementation here, just a tad. We want to do a whole separate kind of talk on that because it's something that should be in its own realm, right? Its own kind of book of knowledge there. But supplements-wise, right? We see all the pre-workouts on the market, all the crap. Some of it can be good.
Talking about pre-workout.
Yeah,
like
pre-workout
supplements. Not necessarily just a pre-workout, but pre-workout supplements.
And supplements, right, by definition, it's like an aid, right? It's supplementing, or it's something on the side of what you're doing. So you can use a supplement to your advantage in the morning, but a supplement can look just like a regular Gatorade too, that has 25 grams of sugar to fuel your workout in the morning so that you have readily available carbohydrate stores. Pre-workouts might be way too much caffeine. Some people's stomachs have issues on it, especially on an empty stomach if you can't eat in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
We've had a couple of clients, have their fair share of dealing with that.
Yeah, we had, and to give an anecdote, right, we had a younger individual, right, probably mid-20s, high performer, but didn't eat breakfast or had something little, had pre-workout, probably had way too much caffeine, had some additives in it, stomach just didn't feel great during the workout. And that's because there was no base, right? It's not like this was after a couple meals where it could really absorb what you just put in your body. No, this pre-workout that he took probably had some beta-alanine and had some niacin, probably had some other things just happening there that the stomach just wasn't ready for in the morning. It didn't sit right for him. So he unfortunately had a little episode, but came back strong, finished the workout. But that's what we can feel a lot of times, is that you might feel your stomach a little bit upset if you're using some pre-workouts on an empty stomach.
Yeah, and we're by no means against caffeine either, but it's timing on that too. If you're going to work out late in the day, maybe don't take a a scoop of C4 where that has 300 milligrams of caffeine, because that's going to screw your sleep a little bit over time, especially. You'll become reliant on it, and your recovery is not right then, right? That's a whole different topic. Again, just want to touch on that as a throw-in.
To your point with pre-workout supplements, is what are we really trying to get out of that pre-workout supplement?
Yeah.
I want a little bit of caffeine, something that's going to maybe energize me a little bit, get a little bit of focus, but I probably don't need 400 milligrams. And right, that's probably the base of it. Then I want some electrolytes.
Yep.
And some sugars, right? Like that would be the ideal for pre-workout.
Yep.
So I don't need all the other things that are happening in the typical pre-workouts that are on the shelves. I can probably have a little espresso or a coffee before a workout.
Yeah.
As opposed to something that's going to have 400 milligrams of caffeine.
100%.
And then complement that with a little bit of salt, water, and some sugars.
Yeah, and I've even talked to people that have done keto, right? High fat, lower than 30 net carbs a day. They have almost no stored muscle glycogen. Anything that they can convert is either from fat or protein into some type of glucose, which is just a whole extra step and system that your body's using. But the conversation is like, well, what are your workouts like, right? Are you fasting? Do you have carbs in your system? Oh no, carbs are bad. I feel like I gain weight. I'm doing keto. So they put themselves in a box, right? But if your goal is to lose weight and gain muscle and work out better, maybe those 25 to 40 grams of pure sugar or carbohydrates is phenomenal for that hour and a half basis to give you the fuel. You're going to use it up during your workout. It's going to allow you to push hard enough to use it up. And you're basically supercharging your workout as opposed to feeling flat and only being able to push 80%, right? Maybe you can push way harder and feel so much better because you are, energized.
Yeah.
You have the proper supplement.
I have a one-on-one client that, high performer again, mixed martial artist, right, fighter, performs at a very high level, trains very hard, and she just switched her diet to be something that's a way lower carbohydrate. And as we were trying to push some weight in here, she felt it.
Yeah.
Right. And this was more of like for her trying to optimize her nutrition because she operates at a very high level, making sure her body feels good with everything she's putting in her body. Not that she's against carbs, but it was just trying to use everything the right way. And she saw that, oh shit, I need to have some carbs because I'm not going to be able to move the weight I can in here. I'm not going to be able to train the way I want to if I don't have that carb source. Right. So she reintroduced it and things feel good again.